Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's still morning. Well, today we're going to discuss how we went from this to this. I've been driving with this case a couple of years around the Netherlands, but eventually we went to this. But first, some short introduction. My name is Smits. I'm a program manager, visual management within Heijmans. And basically what I do, I look at the XR industry and see how this innovation is evolving and what kind of use cases there are and how we can implement those within our company.
My name is Bert. I'm a product owner of all the XR solutions we have, and I coordinate the team that facilitates these innovations within the company.
Yeah, so we work for Heijmans. Heijmans is a main contractor within the Netherlands. We're currently in the top 5. 2 years ago, we existed 100 years, so we had a nice celebration. And we are over 5,500 colleagues, and they go from architects to constructors to engineers to system engineers, and eventually also, of course, construction workers. And to get a better understanding, we are divided in 3 divisions, so real estate, construction, and infrastructure. And although we are part of the construction division, specifically for the design and engineering department, basically every XR question within the company comes to us. And I still remember, I've always also shown the Gear VR on the first slide. It was my first VR experience, and I was able to look from the entrance from a project that did not exist yet, and I was able to tweak the materials and the texture, and it became pretty realistic to experience it. And right away, we start thinking of the different use cases we can create from this technology. And by doing so, we had some success. For example, we were able to create a simulation of the renovation of our Dutch parliament. And we were able to do it because we could export our BIM models. Basically, those are 3D virtual prototypes of the building that we're going to renovate or construct outside into gaming software. And from there, you can review the design within VR, but also create simulations like this. And simulations like this became a great communication tool. So also a Dutch minister used this simulation on his LinkedIn. And also it has been shown on a Dutch television show. And although we had some, although we had some success focusing on the technology and finding use cases based on this technology, we did not manage to implement XR in our daily process within the company. And it was because we are still focusing on the technology instead of solving problems. And a big problem within the construction industry is safety. And within the Dutch construction industry, I think there are approximately 15 deaths each year. And basically it really means that someone leaves his home, leaving his family, and doesn't come home that day. So our company has this strategic goal to have 0 accidents on our construction sites and also be a leading example for the industry. So 15 years ago, we started the Geen Ongevallen program. It's called GO program. Basically, it means 0 accidents. And by doing that, 15 years ago, we start focusing, and I know this is not scientifically based, but we see them as engagement levels. We start placing posters on our construction site, but also sending email to construction workers every month with a different subject, and also having discussion groups with the construction workers. But if you look further down this pyramid, what is more engaging, you go to practice by doing or teaching others. But when it comes down to practice by doing, you won't put your construction workers in an unsafe situation with the risk of having an accident. But with VR, you can. And the first reason why, it's realistic. And I don't think I have to convince you guys that it can be really realistic. But imagine me standing in front of construction workers that hasn't have any VR experience yet. And I'm going to tell them, okay, you're going to put a headset on, and then you're going to experience something that's really realistic. None of them will believe me. So in those cases, for those first timers, we show them the Ritchie's plank experience. I'm not sure if you know it, but you go into an elevator, the door opens, and suddenly you are on top of the skyscraper and you have to walk over a plank. And all of those construction workers that had to do it for the first time, none of them had the courage to step from the plank. So right away they understood why it's so realistic. And it also brings me to the second reason, it's safe. Although they know rationally it's fake, none of them, because the experience is so real for them, because it's so immersive, none of them are stepping aside while they can, because if they step from the plank, they are still standing on the floor. The third reason, it's unlimited. Basically, every situation that you can think of, you can create a computer simulation for, and so you are capable to simulate every situation in a safe environment. And the last reason, there's no distraction. VR, if you are in the VR experience, it's pretty hard to be distracted from outside. So when a construction worker is in the VR experience, he really has to focus on the things that he's seeing within the VR headset. So basically, also with discussion groups, when someone starts talking about this weekend or yesterday PSV lost, it can be the subject of the discussion instead of focusing on safety. So this is why VR is so good for safety, and this is how we start using it, because I think also 15 years ago, we started implementing BIM. So basically, we are creating these 3D virtual prototypes of the building that we're going to renovate or going to construct outside. And first, we started by doing it for the end situation, so basically the end situation for the user. And because it became a great tool, we also start modeling temporary situations, for example, the construction site, and also temporary phases during that construction site. And because we were creating this in BIM, it became pretty easy for us to export those models to VR. And with doing that, we were able to review this design in a other way than we were used to, because we could really experience what a construction worker was going to experience, and with that, we could make way better designs for our construction workers. And also by doing this, we created a great communication tool for construction workers, because in this scenario, we could explain them within VR what they had to do in this situation, because in this situation, for example, there is no fall protection. So in this case, you have to attach yourself to a line that's between those two columns. In this situation, there is fall protection, so you don't have to attach yourself to the line anymore. And also, this was designed as a temporary situation, and this is also the same situation that we created in real life. In some situations, we weren't able to create like a safer construction site. So in those scenarios, we really let the construction worker experience in that scenario what are the risks and what safety precautions can he take to make it way more safer in those scenarios. So for example, in this case, there's a construction worker on top of the roof in a cherry picker assembling a construction on top of the roof. And basically, we are training him up front before he go in this scenario in real life. And by doing this, all those situations we modeled ourselves. So basically we have a modeling team, and those guys model it themselves. We also inspired subcontractors by also modeling temporary situations. For example, scaffolding. And by doing this, we really were becoming able to implement this within our processes, meaning when it comes down to safety, every project now has to identify the potential project-specific risks, and in those processes, they have to use VR to eliminate those risks during the design. But there's also a downside to this, and that will be told by Bert.
Yes. So the previous examples shown by Thomas, they are mainly in the preparation or the design phase of our projects. But not at the projects outside. And the true safety risk is, of course, outside. So our construction workers, they make thousands of tiny decisions every day that can lead to major accidents. So yeah, one person has to make one small wrong decision and we have a fatal accident. So how can we make those construction workers aware of the safety risks using VR? In the past 4 years, we've deployed this in many ways for safety interventions, and we've made some key observations. First of all, storytelling works, is what we really see. If we put them in an environment, even if it's their own project, without context, they don't know what to do. So they just start clicking around, and they don't understand the goal. So if we make a storyline, we see that they feel like it's a normal day at work. So it's essential to give them a task in VR. Secondly, only intuitive UX and UI succeeds. May also sound like a cliche, but we've tested multiple buttons, the joystick, using a virtual tablet. But we see that especially people that do this for the first time, they just need one button, and that's the trigger button to control our training modules. Also, construction workers respond to action, maybe relates to the storytelling element. They respond when they see something happening in VR. If it's static, they don't speak up, and we want them to speak up in these sessions. And to simulate accidents or movement or action, we need interactive environments. And all of these features are not possible with the off-the-shelf software that we used to use or still use in the design, but it's a static environment, so we can't really simulate accidents, create action from which they start to speak up about safety, which is the primary goal. So we had to start from scratch, and 4 years ago we started developing our own custom modules together with our software vendor, and now it grew into a library of safety modules. These are based on the high-risk activities, which are the activities in a construction project that if something goes wrong, it's a very heavy accident or a fatal accident. And those are the activities that we mainly focus on, and our safety department as well. This is what it looks like from inside the headset. We have multiple modules. This is the cherry picker module, heavy loads. Excavation safety, and people can make decisions in VR and also get live feedback. So there are different possibilities for each user, how the storyline will end. But most importantly, they can experience the consequences of their decisions, so they can make a choice and then really see the accident happening. And here you really see that people respond, even physically they are shocked, and that's what we want, because then other people start reacting on it. Maybe they recognize things on their project, they speak up about it, and that's the primary goal. This is what it looks like from outside the headset, so we really do this at the construction site. It's a conscious decision to make it run standalone in a small area. So we only need like 1.5 square meters. And some power. We don't really need Wi-Fi, but we use it for casting, so to assist them better. In the beginning, we believed that we would manage some headsets with this content and then give it to our safety department, and they would run with it, but this didn't happen. So we had to come up with a solution to get this solution to our projects. And we found that in our traineeship program, which are junior colleagues that just enter from university, they get some room from the company to explore Heijmans and to get to know the projects, but also develop themselves. And that's exactly what we can offer them by facilitating these sessions all around the country. Also, they are quite tech savvy usually, so they know how a VR headset works, and they can facilitate this at the locations. And we use the MetaQuest 3 and Arbor XR to manage our fleet. This enabled us to reach over 4,500 participants over the last 4 years, with 1,500 this year alone. And what we see is that 90% of our participants wants to do this more often, and also believes that it helps them to work more safely. Of course, this is data right after they do the VR experience, but also after the second time, they still want to do it more often, which is, of course, promising for us. And 4 years ago, the goal was to make safety more interactive, to make it more fun, so that goal is reached. But also, we are looking at how can we prove that it really saves lives, possibly. So we did a master's study beginning this year with a student from University of Technology Eindhoven, and he studied one group that had a regular safety discussion, one group that didn't have a safety discussion, and one group that had a VR safety session. He found a significant effect of VR on top of the regular safety discussion. Of course, it was a small population, so a small study group, but it's promising, I think. If I can give you one final takeaway, is that community is key. It was also in the previous presentation I saw, but really building a team and also inspiring each other, evaluating together, and giving the technical support to each other is really key. Not only with VR for safety, but in all of the innovations that we are involved in. We see that you really need the ambassadors throughout the company to make this succeed. So if you want to follow us on this journey further, then I invite you to join us on LinkedIn. And thank you very much.
Would you guys take questions? We have a few minutes left.
Sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Hi there. Yeah, great presentation. I was just wondering, and sorry if you mentioned it, I was just wondering what you used to kind of develop the tools.
To develop
in terms of the software.
Yeah, we've had different vendors, but we use software vendors, so we are in between the construction side and the software vendors, and they use Unity to develop. So.
And just one more, if that's okay. How is this received by the workmen on site? Do they kind of... Do they have any comments about it?
Yeah, it's actually the numbers I showed. So they rate this by, on average, 7.8, I guess. So yeah, and all the responses are on average fun, nice, interactive, better than we are used to. Because what they're used to, there's no rule for how they do the safety discussion. So sometimes it's only an email, sometimes it's maybe an e-learning, sometimes it's a PowerPoint, but they think it's fun to do it like this. Of course, you always have people that have some resistance, but that's with every innovation.
Yeah, and also before these trainees start giving this training on the construction side, they also get training how to give the presentation and how to help the construction workers, because also we experience some friction or resistance. But there are some tricks that you can do to persuade somebody by doing this to also go into the headset. And we also experience when there's one guy who doesn't want it, and another colleague does want it, and then eventually other colleagues start also using it. At last, the first one who didn't want to wear the headset also start using the headset. So it's basically when they see someone work with it and they're having fun and they can also complete the experience, they also start using it. So.
But if they really don't want to, we also cast the screen so they can watch it on the TV. So.
Hello, Michel Bembers, TNO. Do you also apply VR, XR beyond safety in, say, for more functional support, in prefab fabrication, assembly on site, whatever? What kind of developments do you have in Heijmans for that?
We are looking into that, and we did some pilots with it. But the hard thing to do is, and within the state that it's right now, we don't really see our construction workers start using it in a way that they're going to start using it every day.
Yeah.
Because we did some pilots with them, and it didn't turn out that it was that far that they can use it right away. So they have a lot of onboarding. There's a lot of onboarding needed to get them going, and because of that, it's pretty easy to don't use it, because otherwise they still can assemble a thing by a 2D drawing. So it's not there yet.
You mean really on the construction side that they use it? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, usually the alignment is not perfect.
Yeah, those
yet,
things.
and,
or some technical issues
connections,
still.
so some technical issues still. But for design, we use it a lot. So not only for safety, but also just technical space in a building to really move things. So you have Autodesk has some off-the-shelf software for that, so you can really design the building in advance and also bring clients into VR in their building before it's even built. So that's what we also.
We also do like virtual mock-ups, that kind of stuff.
And the second question was, would it help in a more industrial setting where you have conceptual industrial building? Would it make it easier than in a traditional process that you build it in already? Or
Maybe for our maintenance use cases, it would be nice if we have just a fixed environment in which we know all the elements, because we do maintenance for all types of companies, all types of office spaces, to data centers, to football stadiums, and we are usually very old. So for those use cases, it would be nice if we would know what's in there. But I think opportunity is always there. So.
Thank you very much.
What kind of pilots did you try already?
Sorry?
Or what kind of pilots did you try already?
Yeah, for example, we did try a pilot with a maintenance engineer, in which he was capable with an iPad to project the BIM model over the real situation.
Yeah.
So he could check whether the BIM model is as built, so the assets that are in the BIM model are also in there in real life. But yeah, the first day you start using it, and the next day he doesn't pick up the iPad. So
we said it's another type of software. I already have to register my maintenance in 4 types of software. So he's looking for less software instead of an additional layer. While it would help the BIM model, of course.
Yeah. So, and we believe this technology will help us to be more efficient and to be way better at bijhouden, keep track of the changes within the design. But in usage for the target group, it isn't there yet, if you know what I mean. So we are waiting on it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Do you have any experience with reality capture technology for as-built documentation, like photogrammetry scans or Gaussian splats?
Yeah, you did a nice test last week. So.
Yeah, we are looking into the 3D Gaussian splatting, which enables it for a maintenance engineer to pick up his mobile and just scan a room instead of taking a picture of specific assets, but just by scanning, he captures all the data. So we are looking into the technology to see if it will help us capturing way more data than we are doing right now on our construction side, on our maintenance projects.
Thank you.
We have time for one more.
Mika Luimala from Turku University of Applied Sciences. Have you identified any, let's say, virtual training scenario needs where you need collaboration? I mean that safety training where you have, for example, 4 different roles to tackle some challenges.
Sorry, you're looking for collaboration?
Collaborative training scenarios. Have you already done something like that, or have you identified any needs for collaborative training scenarios?
So that they do it together in VR?
Yes, I mean that there are hazardous things in industry where you need to, let's say, solve this challenge together with others.
Like a multiplayer.
There are
like
various people in different roles.
Yeah, like a multiplayer experience.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been looking into that, but we have to do it very cost efficient because we don't have in-house developers, so we are depending on our suppliers. So yeah, it's for us as a trade-off. Okay, what's the goal of this experience? And we get money for it, and to make it multiplayer, we have to spend way more money, and we don't have it right now. So yeah, it's a thing that we keep in mind, but we're currently not doing.
But it would be a nice opportunity.
Yeah, it would,
for example, a crane operator and a person below.
Yeah, so they can talk virtually.
Single man, for example.
All right, thank you, Thomas and Bert. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.